I feel like people throw out the term that Arsenal can win the league when actually what they really believe is that City and Liverpool are fighting themselves, and then there's Arsenal, off in the corner. But mark my words, people. Mark my words. Arsenal can win the Premier League, and there's one definitive reason why I think they really can do it. And today, that's exactly what we're going to be discussing. If you are new to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe, you like the video, and you turn on those notifications. It really would help me out, and it means a lot. But now, let's get into it. To begin with, I want to have a look at the game between Arsenal and West Ham. Arsenal won this game by 6-0. They dominated from start to finish, and it really was a pretty mesmerising performance. A terrible one for West Ham, which is really why I'm not going to be focusing on them in this video. I want to be talking about Arsenal in particular. A couple of things stand out to me with the starting 11. Number one is Kiwior out at left back. I understand that Zinchenko might not have been picked for any certain reasons, but Kiwior is an interesting one, because with Kiwior, I think that Arsenal have a brilliant presence of height in the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 players out of the 10 outfield players are over 6 foot, and that's a big deal. Literally. It's a big, big deal. That means that their options from set pieces are going to be that little bit more dangerous. That means that aerially, they're not as easily challenged. And when we think about West Ham and the way that David Moyes likes to set up his team, just for a moment, Souček, very good in the air. Zuma, good in the air. Aged, good in the air. But when I tell you that Arsenal actually beat West Ham for aerial duels 11-13, that wouldn't have happened last season. And I don't think you'd really associate it with an Arsenal team of this modern era. Now, previously, I think you would have, but in the most recent years, they've been a light touch. Not anymore. I just want to talk about Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard in their attacking 8 roles. Kai Havertz, we spoke about dropping a little bit deeper and picking up passes just that little bit more to progress the ball forwards. But his stats during this game were just pretty sensational. First of all, he won 6 out of his 8 aerial duels, and he's really starting to show some kind of form in this Arsenal setup. I think he's understanding his role, and it's allowing him to not only be a little bit more comfortable in this team, but the ability to progress the ball forwards, I think, is a lot better. I also want to mention Martin Odegaard, who has been out on this right-hand side and really started to make this Arsenal side tick again. I think the lack of a pace in the game and the lack of a real penetration has really stifled Odegaard, and I think his lack of ability to really match up with the likes of Kai Havertz in the same way that he did with Granit Xhaka has really hindered him to a certain point. But this game, he was superb. I just want to show off his 7 key passes that he had in this game, which is a remarkable feat. He's actually the first player to be recorded after having over 100 touches, over 5 key passes, and get 2 assists in a game. He's been absolutely sensational this match, and I think that he's really starting to show some form in this Arsenal setup. But I mentioned height a little bit earlier, specifying the likes of Kiwior, Magalhaes, Saliba, White, Rice and Havertz, and the ability in height that they've got in this team. And that means one thing: Arsenal are devastating at set pieces. Now, this is down to the aerial prowess that Arsenal have, yes, but it's also down to this man, Nicolas Jove. He recently joined Arsenal in the season of 2021, and he joined from a very notable club, Manchester City. He signed for Man City in 2019, and in his debut season with Pep Guardiola as his set-piece assistant coach, no team scored more goals than Manchester City themselves, and they only conceded the second fewest. Following on from that, they actually got similar stats, and Manchester City were able to reclaim their Premier League title. Impressive stuff. And now he's starting to do the same with Arsenal. Here is a table that showcases Arsenal's stats when it comes to goals scored. And as you can see from the column highlighted, this is set pieces. Arsenal have actually scored the most set-piece goals of any team this Premier League season, with a whopping record of 16 goals in the games that they have played. Now, if we compare that to the likes of their Premier League title rivals, it's quite impressive. Man City have only managed 10, which isn't bad at all, but Arsenal have a massive +6 advantage over their Manchester rivals. And when you compare it to Liverpool, well, there's quite a difference there as well. Arsenal actually have scored 9 more goals than Liverpool this season. And it's just incredible the work that Jova has managed to do with this Arsenal setup. Even defensively, they've been able to keep goals out at the back. Arsenal have only conceded 5 goals from set pieces this season, which is 1 fewer than Liverpool, who boast a very good record themselves. Jova's definitely having a massive impact, and it's this that I believe will keep Arsenal going forwards. There's no question that Jova has made an absolutely massive impact on the side, and with their aerial prowess, the amount of players that they have over 6 foot, their aggressive nature, there's no telling the amount of goals that Arsenal will be able to score from set pieces. And if they are to win the Premier League this year, I believe that this will be the defining factor that splits them off from the rest. Before we end, I want to take a look at Arsenal's set-piece goal against West Ham and some of the tactics involved in creating a goal like this and why the set-piece coach is so important. First of all, we've got Declan Rice taking the free kick, not a corner this time, which means that they are adapting to different situations. And the first thing I wanted to notice is the 4 players over here standing in an offside position. All of them are actually offside, and they are going to be called offside if something does not change. But something does change, and it's Ben Johnson right here. He's currently very occupied with the 4 Arsenal players. Now, another thing to note about these 4 Arsenal players is they're very close together. They're tightly bunched, and that means that it stops the West Ham defenders from getting in between them. It almost creates a wall that stops West Ham from being able to essentially penetrate through that Arsenal attacking line, and means that they get first contact on the ball when it hits the area that I've highlighted here. The second thing that I want to notice is Kai Havertz's role in this goal. He essentially blocks off Ben Johnson, who tries to drop back a little bit more, and that creates Arsenal's offside line. Now, as the ball is about to be whipped in, we can see that Declan Rice is currently actually in motion of kicking the ball, and Kai Havertz, if we just retreat and rewind for a second there, is about to go in and just focus on that engagement here between Ben Johnson and Kai Havertz. He's just stopped him, essentially. He wants to go this way to try and make sure he's in this area, but Kai Havertz stops him, and this creates their line for offside. This means that Gabriel is not offside. He's the goal scorer right here. He's not going to be offside because of the line that is being held by Kai Havertz and Ben Johnson. Let's fast forward it just a little bit more. Kai Havertz now lets go of Ben Johnson, so there's no foul occurring in the area, and it means that Arsenal's 3 players essentially have free headers. Of course, like I've mentioned previously, the West Ham players can't get in behind this wall of Arsenal players because of their strength, their determination, their aggression, and simply there's just no more space. This is well orchestrated by Mikel Arteta, and as you can see here, look at the 3 Arsenal players that currently have an ability to get their head on the ball, and you've got 1 more at the back post. This is completely outdoing West Ham, and they needed to have done better here. Well orchestrated by Arsenal, and of course, they finish it. Look how close he is to the net. Areola should have come for it as well, but that's a different matter. It was a brilliantly whipped in cross, but look at the contact that Gabriel gets on it. There's no one challenging him. Essentially a free header. This is one of the many set-piece goals that Arsenal have been able to score this season, and again, 30% of their total goals have been scored by set pieces. Brilliant, and this is going to be the difference between whether they are able to go forwards, get that title, get that win, and it's down to some just fantastic coordination, fantastic just set plays, and it's down to this man himself. He will be the difference maker. Arsenal's set piece delivery, their quality and their scoring capabilities should and possibly could be the difference to them getting the title. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.